Suleiman, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
When
Thanks
I look
for
at
having
you,
me.
you're all agriculture, and we want to tap from your wealth of experience. When it comes to food sustainability, please can you lay it bare in a layman's language? What does food sustainability entail?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. And I like the fact you said in the beer terms. Sustainability first has defined by different, and what simply means let's utilize today for the benefit and consider future utilization, which, like you rightly say now, is broad concept. How is food security part? This one. How does agriculture affect climate change, which affects how you produce the food? How is nutrition? How is affordability? How does it add? So in short, sustainability is about the proper utilization of resources, not only for our benefit, for the benefit of the planet and future generations.
Now, when you look at, or when you hear experts speak, you know, you get to hear things like food insecurity is already here with us. Do you share that opinion?
In the terms of production, we produce, but you know how to look at the past and now as well. In the past, people produced just to eat. So there was food security. The issue of affordability does not come in. What has really changed is the issue of cash crop and commoditization. So people now produce to sell. So when you produce to sell, now the issue of affordability comes in. So when you go, yes, production has increased, but how many people can afford it? So that component is not there in terms of food security. Then the second component is nutrition, which is part of food security. Are people able to afford the right combination of food for them to be healthy? Is not there. So every time production goes up, but those two components of food security are lacking.
In another 20 years, by 2050, the global population is expected to get up to about 10 billion people.
Yeah.
If we come locally, projections have it that in Nigeria we may be up to 250 million people.
Yeah.
When it comes to food, are you worried?
Yeah, I'm worried because as it is, all studies show that the natural resources we use now, we need 1.6 times the earth to feed us, to keep us going. So they project that if we continue at this rate, in 50 years we'll need 6 times the earth. You will be worried. So you begin to look at how is the food produced first? How is land allocated? Who gets the land? And all those issues. How is the water? Water is already a scarce commodity. How is water? How is sunlight? How is the pattern of rain? When you talk about sustainability, that's the issue of regenerative agriculture comes in now. Why are we going regenerative now? Why is the West that have been driving us that way coming back this way? Because if you go with that mode of production, you are doing a lot of other damages.
Is the West really coming back?
Yeah, there's a big, on Africa's underdevelopment has now become an opportunity. Because we were never into commercial agriculture, which we've been chasing for decades. So now the world is talking about regenerative agriculture, which is a sustainable manner to regenerate the soil. But by all indices, we never left regenerative agriculture. Our people do compost.
As far as Africa is concerned.
Yeah. Our people don't have enough fertilizer. Like Nigeria has the least fertilizer application per hectare.
Is it probably because fertilizer is out of the reach of the common man?
Yes. It's
so
out of.
In a way, it's serving as an advantage.
It is an advantage that we never even spoiled our land to that level. We never. Don't deceive yourself about Nigeria's food not being acceptable worldwide. It's one of the healthiest food. You can take that to the bank. It's just food economics. Is who produces, where do I buy, World Trade Organization. But our food goes around and fits all those nations.
They talk about lack of proper packaging, so could that also be a factor?
Yes, it is. It's much more than the main factors in terms of our production of our food is the processes.
Regenerative agriculture. I think it's about time we add flesh to that.
Yes, what is what we do. There will be fancy words coming. Next few years, everybody will hear regeneration, tillage, this one. The most important message is let our people know that what they are doing is regenerative agriculture. When we were in organic, why we were always against organic, even major governments couldn't, they said gap. So imagine going to the rural farmer and you give him like 1,000 forms and ways to fill. You and I know that. Our farmer is peasant, he uses hoes to do this one. When will you tell him to meet this gap? So the world has realized, has moved from traceability to transparency. And what is just be transparent in what you are doing. Open up your process from beginning to the end. And it is a very important message because if we look at we cannot afford tractors, not afford fertilizers, not afford chemicals, then we look at we want to regenerate our soil, which is one of the major things. There's one, fixing how we do it, and later, talk of post-harvest. So take it, how is our soil? We pump nitrogen, we don't have soil testing, so the nitrogen goes and pollutes our rivers. So we have now nitrogen fixing, legumes fixed. People used to do fallow, rotation, crop rotation. So those are the things we need to now re-educate our people and go. And there's one important thing, it's a premium market. So I feel Nigeria as it is can say, hey, stop. What are our people doing? Can we codify it? Let's not wait for the codes for regenerative agriculture to come from outside, because it's something what we are doing.
Because I get very worried. If you look at it, it appears we only jump on the bandwagon every time something comes up.
Yeah.
There's hardly anything that you can say is local content.
Yes, but that's why we need to, what you are doing is fantastic. What we need to educate our people that the world is looking for natural goods, which is regenerative agriculture. We need to evaluate where we are, codify it. I received from one of the oldest food companies in the world recently, they sent me a self-assessment question of where we are at regenerative. So I've been probably arguing with them for years because we are 5 years ahead of Europe, 10 years. It is a very important thing, this regenerative agriculture. We are 5-10 years ahead of the world in regenerative agriculture. But they don't understand because the narrative has been commercialization, chemicals, and all that. But there are two, even apart from the production side using the compost, we now look at, you have neem tree everywhere. Neem tree gives you organic manure and pesticides. Just like people are beginning to get interested in the food we abundant, like sorghum, millet, baobab, tamarind, all this food. The world is now asking for it. And this is food that if you go, like those of us from the north, now when you're eating tondawa, you are like a poor person. Now the white man is asking for it. When you're eating millet, you're a poor person. When did we start eating rice? When I told people that even corn was introduced in the 1950s, it's about pallets. So these are things regenerative brings to us. We don't have the resources first to invest in agriculture, so we need to just codify, regenerate our soil, open our processes, and feed the market, and define ourselves as such. Branding is important, because if you brand yourself that Nigeria or Abuja or a state, Plateau or Kaduna, so we are going regenerative fully. We are going to use the bio-resources, creating biocultural ways to bring our soil back to normal. Go and do a survey. Every village in Nigeria, I've been to 100 local governments, and they will tell you that use of fertilizer has decreased yield. I don't want to go into food economics because it's another subject entirely. So the component is production, the component is branding and codification and market. Let's not allow this narrative to be driven by people who don't even understand what is regenerative agriculture. Let's not wait to be told what to do, because there's a need. I tell people now, there's no conspiracy theory in the world.
Everything is open.
The challenge we are facing is about one earth. So for the first time, the interests of the West and the developed nations align. They don't want to die.
We must eat.
We must eat,
all die.
and we must eat healthy. Then the way we are farming is materialization, and the world is going to dematerialization. If you look at, people say we have, I'll give you an example in terms of crops. We'll never be competitive in rice. We'll never be competitive in soya. We'll never be competitive in corn.
Do we have to be competitive, or do we just have to grow enough to eat? Because I understand as of 2015, we were producing just about 2 million metric tons of rice.
You have to be real.
But from, well, I mean, this is what statistics
No, it's true.
Yeah.
We produce that.
What they are saying now is that we are somewhere around 13 million metric tons, and we have about...
How much are we producing the rice?
Well,
It costs $100 to do paddy rice in Thailand and other places. It costs 1 ton. It costs $280 to do same here.
Why is that the case?
Our soil preparation. Even regenerative agriculture, first is soil. You regenerate the soil to produce well. Then there's one thing that's never been in Nigeria. Why it's very difficult to compare. Nowhere in the world is the farmer left on his own. In the Midwest, they were doing ethanol, Midwest of America during Trump times and this one. At the end, the Americans told us, don't deceive yourself. These guys have $5 billion a year. There was a time cashew crashed in here. Then cashew cashew in Zimbabwe, a poor country, bought all to protect the farmer, and we don't produce. Which takes us to the next aspect of regenerative agriculture. We are the most deforested nation in the world.
You know, before we get there, I want to find out, in all this that we are saying, is government in any way capturing it as far as its radar is concerned?
There was one thing that has come up, which is very important, and I hope this government understands it. Now you cannot separate agriculture, energy, and environment. They are together. If you talk about $7.5 billion for survey loss, there are two opportunities to it. While you are reducing it, you can convert it to energy and fertilizer, biodigesters, or some form of energy. They are together. This is why it's a natural capital. So for us, where do we have advantage? First, we have a lot of land, and the world needs trees, and we want to go regenerative. So we need more return per hectare of land.